Hello everyone and welcome to Best Side Cycling. Today I'm here in Issaquah at the famous Zoo Hill climb. I'm here with my road bike and yeah, this is a bit of a long story, but this hill is one of the reasons why I started this channel. And when I first started riding around 2020, I barely made it up the thing. It took me around 20 minutes. And today what we're gonna do is try to beat my personal best, which was 2 months ago in May, where I got just over 14 minutes, 14:04. So the goal today is to do sub 14 minutes. I don't know if I'm in the condition to do it. I've been back from vacation. I've been riding a lot this past month. So I'm here blessed by Matthew, who is gonna help record this whole thing. And I'm just gonna give it a go. It's go time.
And off we go, and it starts off with a pretty steep section, and I'm definitely sort of going pretty hard right now. There's going to be a lot of new information on the screen, including the gradient on the bottom left, the power and power weight ratio, and then a general map on the top right indicating how far I am into the segment. But yeah, I am definitely cooking this way harder than I should be right now, as I think I got excited just being filmed by Matthew as well as seeing the person ahead. But this is a lesson that I am going to have to learn in the process, as this video I plan to make it just a pretty light-hearted commentary around the whole thing, just to give you a really good sense of what this climb is like. I'll give you advice on how to tackle it for the first time, or if you're actually trying to do a PR. And I won't put the original audio because honestly it is just me heavily breathing for the whole time. So this road is probably what is one of the most popular sort of benchmark climbs here in King County, namely because it's sort of one of the tallest efforts you're going to get at a consistent grade. So the stats here are about 2.2 miles, 8.5% gradient with 990 feet of elevation, and then it gets its name because it's located right here in Issaquah. On the left you'll see the Cougar Mountain Zoo already in the frame. So yeah, this is also where it flattens off a really good bit, so you'll see that in the grade count on the bottom left, and that's something you'll have to sort of account for in this effort, that the gradient does change quite a fair bit, and I'll definitely warn you along the way. So far we've had that steep pitch right in the beginning. This is where it really starts to shallow off right next to the zoo as we head into the next section, into the switchbacks. And a good practice with these sort of long efforts for ones you want to do a personal best in is probably to sort of flatten out your power throughout the effort. That means that you're basically sort of starting out easy, then making it harder and harder till the end, where you're just basically holding on. But that's definitely not what I'm doing here, as I see another person and I sort of sprint again from the excitement. I am definitely going to learn my lesson and have to pay for that later, as the number I should be holding here is a lot more around like 240 watts. But yeah, we're now entering into this next section, which I like to call the switchbacks, which is definitely the most consistently climby portion of the whole course. The next 3 turns is just a lot of different gradients, including the second switchback, which is the steepest part of the whole segment. So it's gonna be definitely, this is where you're sort of holding on, and definitely where you're gonna be putting the most effort if you want to take advantage of that steepness. And then in terms of how you see I'm climbing, my climbing style, it's definitely a very seated and a higher cadence one. I guess I take a lot from my role model Onoda, which is the anime character. But seriously, I think when I've noticed like people climbing, whether standing or seated, it really just is what works best for you. For my approach, I really think it's because for people I notice that stand a lot more, it's usually people with sort of a more all-around build and things. But me, I am just sort of a super lightweight 115 pounds, 52 kilo rider that just got into cycling, just pedals a lot. So I don't really have those core muscles anywhere else other than in my legs. So I just feel like it's most natural for me to sit. You'll see me stand here for a moment, but it's like really just to get a short break and just reset things a little bit. And I just keep going because this is the position that I've trained the most in for all my climbing, and it's the one I'm most used to and I'll keep to. But it definitely just depends on you. As you can tell, like the speed we're going at here is very, very low. so. So yeah, it's seated or standing. It's not going to make the difference aerodynamically. It's a lot more about how you get your power out. So we're on the sort of longest straight between the different switchbacks, and definitely this is probably one of the higher graded ones. You'll see on the bottom left consistently in the lower tens, and then yeah, this is probably where it's gonna be ramping up, because up ahead is the steepest switchback and the steepest part of the whole course, so you'll definitely notice it. You can see my gearing there on the bottom right. I just switched to a lower gear there, my second last one, since I do ride with compact gearing, and I appreciate it because I love to ride the steepest hills I can. Sometimes I wish I had an even lower gear. So definitely, if you're taking this on for the first time, definitely consider the gearing that your bike has, because so many times I meet people and they think they can't climb, but it's not that. It's just because their bike's gearing is way too high for what they're trying to do. And then as your fitness improves, of course, you can change it up. But yeah, so this is where I'm in probably the only section here where I probably will use the 1-to-1 ratio. We'll see if I change it. I forget if I do or not. And then my heart rate is pretty much probably clocked out at where it's going to sit for this effort. I don't usually go much crazier than 180, but yeah. There you go. I switched down to my lowest gear. We're now going up this grade. The grade meter is totally bonked out right now, but realistically, that section is often quoted to be around a 20% grade, probably around the steepest section of it, and I think that's fairly true, but it's definitely not in the 30s or anything like that. But here we're going along, and this section, actually, interesting commentary is that it's been sort of it's been repaved. So this right section here, you see, is very broken, and generally the zoo pavement is pretty rough, but they sort of went ahead and over the past few weeks done a lot of sort of retouching up of the road. I say it that way because they didn't do like a full repaving, so there's still a lot of section with like sort of potholes. I don't know if they're coming back to fix it, but the interesting thing of why it's taking so long, or like this section doesn't get paved as much, is because this area is actually part of unincorporated King County, so basically no one's actually fully responsible, but the areas that are taken care of, such as at the very top of the zoo, is part of Bellevue. So yeah, but that section that we did ride through is quite nice, because there are no driveways or anything like that, so it can be quite calm. And then I guess I'll just mention that real quick here, that traffic here can vary depending on the season. Of course, how many people visiting the zoo or people wanting to go up to hike the Cougar Mountain trails. But generally, I would say this is a pretty low traffic road and you should feel comfortable. But anyway, after those switchbacks, we enter into this area of reprieve. It's a very nice flat area in comparison. Yeah, honestly, probably around 4 to 6% grade, which will feel amazing after what you just did. And I think there's really two things you can do here. Either this is a really good point to really gather your breath, take a rest if you need to save up your energy to complete the rest of the climb. And then if you're trying to do a hard effort like this is definitely where you want to pick up some speed and momentum. Unfortunately, this is my worst skill as a small rider. I just don't have the pure power to go very fast on the flat, so I try, but this is usually where I bleed the most time. As you follow this turn on the 60th Street, and this begins the very famous Cougar rollers that never end. And they really do feel that way because there's just a series of hills that get steeper and steeper. There are a couple of descents in there to sort of trick your brain as well. So I'll give you some tips in terms of how to manage that. But when you first turn off, the first sort of roller actually is decently steep compared to the other ones. So it starts out here again in the low 10s, and then it'll really flatten off for a good while. And this is also happening to my power, as my power is also dropping off like a cliff. And this was really due to the overexertion in the beginning of the effort. I really have to learn to just, really control myself and not be so excited by the camera, because right now I am definitely paying for it. My legs are not putting out the power they need to. And at this point, actually, I was still on pace to break my PR. I think I was 5 seconds ahead, but it didn't look good so far. So we'll see how long I hold on for. But here on the left, you see a lot more of that repaving I'm mentioning, where they sort of took out sections and fixed it up, which is definitely a nice benefit. And I mean, if they did it across the whole climb, that definitely would make it a much smoother experience, especially on the descents for this area. So we're still in sort of the consistent sort of lower grade part of the climb. And if you've enjoyed this video so far, please roll the like button and subscribe. As much as I love my Bromptons, I really honestly most days when I'm at home, if you follow me on Strava, I'm riding my road bike and riding climbs like these. So if you want to see more videos about me climbing things, giving sort of climb guides like this, or showing you my efforts, just let me know. I don't take myself too seriously, but the climbs are definitely where I do like to test my fitness, and I do like to ride hard, but it's only really when I'm usually by myself or solo, because I really am a risk averse person and I don't really like going fast. So that sounds sort of funny, but can get more into that in another time as we continue on these rollers here. Just slight up and downs. Here is probably where we'll mark sort of the first point you should look out for, because it sort of spikes up a little bit, and then it's actually gonna have almost a downhill here, and then up ahead you'll see what looks like another sort of big upright sort of wall. And then I'm just gonna tell you that that's not the end. There's actually gonna be sort of two main walls that you have to conquer, but it really depends how you define them. But you'll get your downhill here, the first for the whole course. It doesn't last very long and it evens out to a pretty flat gradient, but then it's still more than welcome, as yeah, these next sections are gonna get plenty tough and with pretty good grades. So you're gonna have to sort of muster whatever strength and energy you have to work through them here. And then you'll see my power numbers spiking again on the top left, and that's really just the nature of also how I ride. It's they respond a lot better to resistance than to pushing, I would say. So I definitely rely on the gradients for me to get that power out. So and then you'll see me doing a little bit here because I'm tired, but going a bit left to right. That just naturally reduces the grade. You can use it in a way to make any steep climb easier, especially if you have the room and are able to safely do it. But that's just a natural reaction from me when I get tired. But of course, the fastest way through is just to go straight. So here is the second half of this sort of wall, and then this is where unfortunately it gets steep. So you'll notice the Mercer Builders, this nice house on the right, I see it every time, and then the gradients will definitely start to pick up here as you're just gonna do whatever you can to make over this, but know that this is not the end. You'll see on the top right as well that there's still a good chunk of little dark green line left that you need to conquer. But when you see the speed sign up ahead, that is definitely near the end of this section, and what I like to call the second last climb of all these climbs in these Cougar rollers. So I've never been able to clock a speed on there. Maybe you'll be able to do it next. But yeah, at this point, I think I know that the effort probably is not going to work out super successfully. I think at this point, my old time is catching up with me, and the 5-second lead I had and need to get sub 14 is pretty much gone. So my motivation might not be as high right now as we head into the biggest descent of the whole course, and then into the final wall, and I think really the hardest part of this whole segment, which is a bit cruel but also sort of fitting for a long hard effort like this. So whatever we can do here to get some speed, definitely use it as you start now on your, I think it's about like a third of a mile to the end here, maybe even less, but you can see the light at the tunnel at this point. But it is super steep as my power spikes again because of the gradient. I am just giving it all I can here, and this is definitely the moment in the climb where it'll hurt the most, regardless if you're going for a segment effort or not, or just trying to reach to the top, which I will note there is extra 300 feet to climb, but we're just focused on the Strava segment effort here. So I'm gonna put it to best side cycling now, and you can enjoy the rest of my effort.
I didn't get it. I sort of gave up once I saw I was behind. I was up 5 seconds in the middle, and then I lost gas. Let's film up here. So my Strava segment reads 14:12. I doubt it was off by that much. Usually, if it is just by a few seconds, maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised later. But yeah, once I got behind near the end, it's really crushing like any race, but that was still really fun. I still made it, and that is Zoo Hill for you guys. So hope you enjoyed it.
And don't leave yet because Future Best Side Cycling has an update. The one editing just today, I went out to do this climb again with the Best Side Cycling crew. I requested their help, and as much as you can pull someone on a steep hill like this, they did, and I managed to actually finally do it. 13:46, well under sub 14, and my main fitness goal of this season complete. So that was really good to see. But yeah, still wanted to post this for you to use as a sort of way as a climb guide, and I hope it helps. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Have you done this hill? What hill should I cover next? Anything else like that, and I'll see you all in the next one.